The Bible was not written by a single person sitting down at one time to create a book. That is the honest truth. It is a collection of writings produced over a very long period of history, by many different human authors, in different cultures, languages, and situations. What makes the Bible unique is not that humans held pens, but what believers understand about why and how those humans wrote. Historically speaking, the Bible came into existence over roughly 1,500 years. The earliest parts of the Old Testament were written long before the time of Jesus, while the New Testament writings appeared within the 1st century after his life. These writings were not originally called the Bible. They existed as scrolls, letters, poems, laws, historical records, prophecies, and eyewitness accounts. Only later were they gathered together into what we now call the Bible. From a factual standpoint, humans wrote the Bible. Moses, David, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Matthew, Luke, Paul, Peter, John, and many others were real people living in real historical moments. They wrote in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek. They used their own personalities, education levels, emotions, and writing styles. You can clearly see this when you read the Bible carefully. David writes like a poet, Luke writes like a historian, Paul writes like a trained thinker and teacher, and John writes with deep symbolism and simplicity. This alone shows that the Bible was not mechanically dictated word for word in the same way a machine prints text. However, the sincere truth is that Christianity has never claimed that the Bible was merely a human invention. The core Christian belief is that God inspired these writings. Inspiration does not mean the writers were robots or lost consciousness. It means they wrote willingly, consciously, and intentionally, while being guided by God's Spirit so that the message He wanted preserved was communicated faithfully. That is why the Bible itself says it is God-breathed, not man-made. The process of collecting the Bible also matters. Not every ancient religious writing was included. The books that became part of the Bible were recognized over time by communities of believers who saw consistent teachings, historical reliability, prophetic fulfillment, and alignment with what God had already revealed. Church councils did not invent the Bible. They recognized which writings were already being used, trusted, and preserved as authoritative. This is an important distinction that is often misunderstood. Another honest truth is that the Bible has been copied and translated many times. The original manuscripts no longer exist, but thousands of ancient copies do. When scholars compare these copies, they find an extremely high level of consistency. Variations exist, but they are mostly minor spelling or wording differences that do not change the core message. This level of preservation is stronger than that of almost any other ancient document. The Bible also did not drop from heaven complete and bound. It grew through history, through pain, faith, failure, obedience, exile, persecution, and hope. It contains stories of human weakness just as much as divine power. It does not hide the sins of its heroes, which is unusual for ancient religious texts. This honesty is part of why many people find it trustworthy. At the center of the Bible is not a system, a church, or a culture, but a message, God reaching toward humanity, and in the Christian faith, that message finds its fullest expression in Jesus Christ. The Old Testament points forward, and the New Testament looks back and explains. This unified story across centuries is one of the strongest reasons believers see God's hand behind the writings. So the sincere truth is this: humans physically wrote the Bible, history shaped it, communities preserved it, and faith explains it. If you remove God from the picture, it becomes a remarkable ancient collection of writings. If you include God, it becomes revelation. What it is to you ultimately depends on whether you believe God speaks through people. But no matter where one stands, the Bible was not made casually, randomly, or carelessly. It was formed through time, conviction, sacrifice, and an unwavering belief that its message mattered enough to preserve at all costs.